answer my questions as usual. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you understand? Good. He's ready.
If there's one thing I love more, including cats, guns, video games, VR, polearms, swords, axes, it's mysteries, investigations. Everyone loves an intriguing story about a serial killer in documentaries, movies leading fine wine-aged investigators on breadcrumb trails, games keeping just enough evidence to its chest to make you wonder what the big twist is at the end. And even internet detectives, people like CoffeeZilla, who all snoop around online to expose the truth to the public, and make videos detailing their extensive investigation. It captivates people, leads them on with bated breath, wondering what the next clue is. Or it shocks us, revealing something never expected, leaving us aghast. Naturally, we, the audience, want to be the one to solve such a rich mystery. Be like our famed detectives, like Sherlock Holmes, Batman, Detective Poirot, Detective Columbo, among many others. Luckily, there are some games that allow such interactive, investigative brain teasers. Games like Condemned Criminal Origins, Gunpoint, Vampire, the Batman Arkham series, Metal Gear Solid 5, all these games have some investigative part in their story, where the player needs to put the pieces together and find a solution. But none do it so well and tell a story that's such a roller coaster of emotions as
Hold it! Objection!
Released July 22nd, 2024 on Steam, and developed and published by Bureau 81, The Operator is a database investigation story, I guess. It's hard to describe what this game really is, as I've never seen anything like it. With tags like conspiracy, detective, investigation, and atmospheric, that doesn't paint the whole picture. The best allegory I can give to truly describe The Operator is Batman Arkham Oracle Simulator, with a hint of actual conspiracy, alien abduction. That's the best I've got. If I haven't sold you on the game yet, just let me cook real quick. The year is 1992. You play as Evan Tanner, a new hire for the Federal Department of Intelligence, or FDI, which is basically just the FBI and the CIA smashed together. Specifically, you're in the Operator program, a new, specially designed system to aid field agents in their cases. Put simply, FDI field agents will collect evidence, and operators, using cutting-edge software linked directly to the FDI database, can then review, reference, and solve cases and/or find new leads for agents to track down. Like I said, you're basically Oracle, but for government agents. After reading the welcome document and talking to our good friend and director of the Operator program, Mike Trench, we then get our first task from our supervisor, Xavier Skinner.
Let's do a dry run, shall we? I want you to find my age.
A minor task, but a way to show us how the human database, or human DB, works, as well as how to contact Skinner if ever we're stuck on a case. Though this didn't help me much personally. The human DB isn't complicated. Just type in someone's full name and you'll get everything the FDI has to offer on who they are and what their life is like. We find Skinner's age fairly easily and move on to a real case.
Right. Like that, Tanner.
From here, the game really does start, and I should warn you, from here on, I'm going to spoil the entire game, puzzles and all, so I implore you, go buy this game and play it for yourself. It is a fantastic, interactive thriller, unlike anything I've ever witnessed. I've had nothing spoiled for me, and had a great time playing this, so please, play the Operator before watching the rest of this video. I'll have a link in the description for it. Please, play it, it is worth it. Still here? Well, I hope you played it already. Or maybe you just need me to sell you on it more. Okay, fine. Our first assignment begins with a homicide case. Do I have your attention? For our first assignment, we meet with FDI agent Alexandra Pendle, the lead agent on the scene, and as it turns out, it's her first day on the job too. Lucky us. To set the scene, there was a homicide in a downtown bar at around 2 a.m. The victim was in his early 60s and was shot in the head, point blank. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Agent Pendle recovered two key pieces of evidence: surveillance footage capturing the entire scene, and, quote, some kind of list found on the body. Agent Pendle uploads the files to the database, and we dig in.
Thanks, Operator. Okay, I'm sending over the files. Good luck.
I first took a look at the list recovered, and found out it's a list of names, likely over 100 by my guess. Most were crossed out, a few were circled, and one was even redacted, circled frantically. Agent Pendle brushes it off, thinking it to be irrelevant to the case at hand. I agree, and move on to the surveillance footage. The footage is mostly cut and dry. It shows our victim closing house, our suspect pulls up in a car, steps into the bar, and shoots the victim, right then and there. Then he takes off. The first thing I thought to do was to ID our victim. The victim's name was Henry Jenkins. Surprisingly though, I couldn't access his file. Even Skinner wasn't disclassified, and he's an FDI Operator supervisor. Mind you, the Operator program is still very new and highly confidential, so something this confidential, even above our pay grade, is something unseen. I was intrigued, but could do nothing else, so I moved on and tried to identify our suspect. I got a good close-up, but this is 1992, so the surveillance footage wasn't great, and we had little to go off of, even with our 92 cutting-edge technology. So we had to find something else to tag him on. Thankfully, we had a pretty good shot of his car, and could actually extract his license plate in surprisingly good detail. Okay, fine, I'll admit, that's some cutting-edge stuff right there. We ID the vehicle and find it's owned by Ray Wells. So I looked him up on the human DB, and sure enough, We find a great value German 985. Wait, what? Comparing it to the photo of the surveillance footage, I deduce this is our prime suspect, and give the name to Agent Pendle.
Nice. Now we know the perp's name.
She then asked for an address to the man, and lucky me, I have that too. I gave her the address, and she goes in for the bag.
Yeah, that'll do. Nice work.
Later on, we get an agent in the desert of Nevada, who's been getting passed around by other operators like a blunt in an underage party.
God damn it! Who are you?
Agent Barry Walker, displeased with the Operator program, catches us up on an interesting case he's been working on. Something not outside the norm for Nevada. Let me set the scene. This is gonna get weird. Conspiracy levels of weird. Agent Walker is working on a peculiar missing persons case somewhere in Nevada. Dryfield, Nevada, to be specific. A Miss Connie Moore goes missing, and everyone in the small local town says she got abducted by aliens. This has become a somewhat regular thing in Dryfield, as 4 others had the same thing happen to them. They go missing for a month and reappear somewhere else in the desert. As it turns out, Miss Moore had the exact same thing happen to her. But she had a camera on her when she went missing, and we get access to her camera. Before we get ahead of ourselves, let's look at all the evidence.
Here are the files.
First, I looked at Miss Moore's testimony, and she seems honest about being abducted. She was hiking around Mount Maury, taking pictures of the scenery, when she saw a flying saucer out of nowhere. She swiped a picture of it, but it was too fast to get a good shot. After that, she saw it land southeast of Dryfield and walked an hour 45 minutes to find its landing site. She then woke up in a room with blindingly bright lights, a hospital-like smell, and she was restrained on a table. She could hear the aliens all around her, but couldn't see them, only humanoid silhouettes. They asked her a series of questions, with their voice sounding rather mechanical. The questions were about her life, her family, her beliefs. She said, quote, "I think they wanted to learn about me, to study me," end quote. After that, she woke up in the middle of the desert not far from Dryfield. Soon after, someone found her and later called the cops. The FDI followed soon after that, likely due to the bizarre nature of this case. I then looked at her phone receiver pings across the desert, and they seemed to line up just fine. She was in Dryfield February 5th at 8:45 a.m., went to Mount Maury, then at about 10:15 a.m., she went east for about an hour 45 minutes. Her last ping was around 11:56 a.m. She then pinged on March 5th at 3:27 p.m., 29 days later. Then I looked at her camera storage. The first 2 pictures were of Mount Maury. Granted, they look like they could be screenshots in Red Dead Redemption 2, but I digress. The third picture looked hastily shot, but showed a clear flying saucer, a UFO. Or I guess officials are saying unidentified aerial phenomena, or UAP, but whatever. I cross-referenced the time and locations the photos were taken, and they seemed to line up pretty well. I wasn't sure what I was looking for. It seemed clear to me, but I was skeptical, and Agent Walker was with me.
That's the photo I think is problematic. I don't believe in intelligent life outside our planet. I don't believe in intelligent life on our planet. But we gotta be more specific. We need proof that something's off about the photo.
Something was off about the photo, but what? After scouring over the evidence, I found what we were both looking for. The third photo was taken around 10:13 a.m. On February 21st, Miss Moore was already missing for 16 days when she disappeared on the 5th of February. So how was this photo taken on the 21st? I relayed the info to Agent Walker, and he was elated.
Jackpot. Connie said she took that photo the day she disappeared. Clearly, she didn't. Maybe the aliens did funny things to her brain. Maybe your brain was funny to begin with.
Well, more accurately, he was being sarcastic, but I think that's just a personality trait of his. I then relayed the position where she supposedly took the photo, and Agent Walker wasn't too pleased to find out he's gonna have to do a little exercise.
Probably sweat my goddamn
How do you know my name?
I know many things about you, Evan.
What do you want?
It's simple. I want the truth.
What do you mean?
Let me show you something. Do you remember the list found on Henry Jenkins? You didn't see her name, did you, Evan?
The abducted woman.
Pretty big coincidence, don't you think? I'm also going to assume that you didn't notice that of the 136 people on it, 122 have been reported missing. One last thing, and this is the most important part. There's a name near the bottom that's been redacted. That name is the key to understanding everything. I have to go now, Evan, but I'll be in touch soon. Promise.
We'll catch.
Operator Tanner, are you there?
After logging back in, I told Skinner what happened, and he tells us he'll look into it, and to head home. With little else to do, I power off the machine, pack up my stuff, and head home. It doesn't take long for Director Trench to give us a ring. We talk for a bit and move on with our jobs. Soon after, Skinner lets us know Agent Pendle has a follow-up case from yesterday. Mr. Wells, our suspect in Agent Pendle's previous case, wasn't home. Instead, he was found in a parking garage, dead. Agent Pendle recovered footage from a camera once again, but this time the footage was corrupted, possibly tampered with. I looked into the footage provided, and it shows our suspect nervously shifting around. Then, static. A third of the footage is completely cut off, before Wells is just dead. I noticed right away there was a light above the coned-out car was out, likely broken. I relayed this information to Agent Pendle, and she looked into it.
Look at that. Give me a sec, operator. I'm gonna check this out.
Sure enough, she found a bullet lodged in the light. She sends the evidence over, and I get to snooping. I noticed a few things outright. The bullet was a pistol caliber, likely 9mm or 45 ACP, and it looked to be a jacketed hollow point, or at least something similar. It didn't flower like a hollow, and it was still mostly intact, even after hitting the frame of the light. I analyzed the bullet, and it was a 45 ACP, a common caliber among pistol owners, just behind the 9mm. There wasn't much I could do with so little evidence.
45 caliber? I believe that's what the military and police use. Well, that's something anyway. Thanks for your help, operator. Appreciate it. If only we had all of the footage. Anyway, I should get back to the scene. Keep digging and see if you can find anything else about our perp.
Thankfully, Hal decided to lend a hand. They offered me a deal. Hal could restore the footage, and I'd just say our software was able to recover it should Agent Pendle ask. But, in return, I would aid Hal in something they've got going on. I was naturally resistant, but Hal said it best. Quote, "Without my help, you and Agent Pendle will never solve this case. Wells's killer will still be on the loose." As a federal agent, I wasn't willing to negotiate with criminals, but I had no choice. So, begrudgingly, I agreed. Hal injected some code, likely another backdoor too, but restored the footage for me to review. Thanks, Hal. I guess. Well, I reviewed the footage again and saw the entire scene. It showed our suspect nervously shifting around until a car drives up to Wells. Wells approaches it and gets shot. Then, the car just speeds off, leaving Wells in the parking garage to bleed. With this newfound evidence, I started my investigation again. First, I looked at our suspect. I got a good shot of him in the car, that one being a 91 red Dodge Charger, and went for a facial recognition scan. It was clear as day. Facial structure, defining features, I had it all. And yet, 0 matches. Like a 4chan reverse image search trying to disprove OP fake taking a spent nuclear fuel bundle meant for a high-pressure water reactor.
Reverse image search, 0 results. Anon, I'm very worried for you.
Jesus fucking Christ, Anon. Skinner shares my shock, saying this shouldn't even be possible.
Our FDI databases are exhaustive.
For now, though, we have a ghost of a man as our suspect. Skinner asks that I share it with Agent Pendle, and I do. She asks how we got the footage, and I just remind her our software is cutting edge. She thanks me and begins her search for the ghost. After a quick lunch break, Hal decides to collect their debt. Great. Hal gets me connected to an FDI agent, Catherine Andrews. But our connection has to be off the books, on an unsecured channel. To do so, I have to use the terminal, aka the command prompt of the FDI. We get connected, and Agent Andrews fills us in on a closed case. I'll let her words describe what happened.
Okay, I'll try to keep this short. About a month ago, I started working on a missing persons case. A woman reported that her husband had been gone for over 48 hours. Almost right away, the case felt different. Red tape all over the place. An unusual lack of cooperation from my superiors and colleagues. Unanswered calls. Suddenly, the FDI felt like the most incompetent department in the country. After an almost endless game of phone tag, I finally managed to get an appointment with a superior. The plan was to sit down and talk about the case first thing Monday morning. That Sunday night, I'm awoken by a phone call. The woman's apartment has burned to the ground.
In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
And the woman, what's left of her anyway, has been found dead in the ashes. Well, it gets worse. So I started looking into the fire, of course. I couldn't help myself. Plus, I felt like I owed it to Mia. That was the woman's name. Mia Cole. Anyway, it wasn't long before my superiors found out and pressured me to stop. They told me the fire had been ruled accidental, the result of faulty wiring in our oven. They told me I was wasting my time and precious FDI resources by looking into it, and said if I continued, I'd end up pushing papers in a basement somewhere. But that fire, Operator Tanner, that fire was no accident. I can feel it. Mia was murdered. I just have to prove it. That's why I'm hoping you can help me.
To me, this sounds like a giant conspiracy, but Mia's entry is at a higher clearance level, and so is her husband's. Except Sasha is completely redacted from the human DB. Something is definitely off about all this now. Agent Andrews says it best, quote, "Someone doesn't want us looking into Sasha and Mia Cole." Agent Andrews pleads with me to help prove the fire that killed Mia was not an accident. Hal chimes in with a peculiar bug and tells me to inject a small piece of code to find the files for the case. After doing so, confusing as it was, I got the files I was looking for. Let's set the scene. The case was closed on February 27th, 1992, so this is an old case. For reference, Connie Moore disappeared February 5th. The doctored photo of the UFO was taken the 21st, and Miss Moore had reappeared on March 5th. Just a couple of days now. I'll let you read the report on screen now, but to summarize, around February 25th, the fire started late at night in Mia's home. She was the only casualty, burning to death, tragically. There were no anomalies found in an autopsy, no signs of a struggle against the victim or in the house, and was therefore ruled to be merely an accident due to faulty wiring in the oven, which caused the fire. I looked into the evidence recovered: a wedding band, a burned picture frame, and a sample of the ashes recovered from the debris. The ring was nothing special, just that Mia and Sasha's names were engraved on the inside. The picture shows Mia and presumably Sasha on the night of their wedding. Again, nothing special or anything we can glean from. The ashes were the main piece of this puzzle. I'll spare you the details. I'll just say that I had to read the manual to know what the hell I was doing to initiate a chemical scan. After reading the manual, doing some math, crunching some numbers, I finally initiated the scan. I then later realized I am a complete moron and didn't read everything correctly, and messed up the data report section of the analysis. Nothing too major, but an annoyance to say the least. So, word of advice, don't put a dent in your head and do what I did, like this. Instead, list the values from the highest peak down, like this. And, et voila, we have the smoking gun. Trace particles of gasoline. I relayed the information to Agent Andrews, and she was ecstatic. But with this old mystery solved, what will Agent Andrews do now? Why even solve this old case again? I asked her about it, and she said it means a lot to her. She then laid out everything she knew about Mia. Agent Andrews had come to know a lot about her. She knew Mia's goals, her dreams, her aspirations. She got quite attached to Mia, despite being trained by the FDI not to. But there was something tugging at Agent Andrews. Mia wanted to be a singer, and Agent Andrews recounted she was pretty good at it. Mia also wanted to find her husband, who went missing under mysterious circumstances. Not only that, but she was even 3 months pregnant too. Mia wasn't the only casualty in the fire, and as Agent Andrews recalled, Mia even used her voice to sing to the baby. Rather cute if you ask me, of course, but still. Before Agent Andrews even knew, the fire had started and they were both gone. Murdered. But why?
Are you still there?
Oh, sorry. I lost my place in the script for a moment there. Anyways.
So, you found evidence proving the fire wasn't an accident. Well done, Evan. Maybe there's hope for you yet. The way the FDI has handled the cold case. It's strange, don't you think?
I want to do my job, Hal. That's it.
But solving cases is doing your job. So is making sure victims get the justice they deserve. Look, I know you probably still don't trust me. I'm on the FDI's most wanted list. I hacked into your computer. I get it. But tell me something. Why would I bother going to the trouble of working with a low-level FDI employee? Sorry. If I didn't have a good reason.
Though I didn't have the option, I remarked that I thought Hal was using me to weaken the FDI. It wasn't just me, but all the new hires. They would be hacked, blackmailed, and subsequently fired for conspiring with a cybercriminal. It's the old weak eyes Hal wants behind those screens, so they'd sneak in, take whatever they need, and slip out pretty much undetected. But Hal shot that down too. Suddenly, Director Trench calls me, and I have to cut it short. Trench questions why I've been looking into an old case. I told him things were a bit quiet, and I just wanted to keep my skills sharp, so I thought I'd test myself with a closed case. Trench is hard-pressed about keeping any information under lock and key. The case is closed, and if something turns up, to report it to him immediately. Rather odd, but looking back, both Sasha and Mia's files are both confidential. Though then again, so is Jenkins. I still don't know why he's confidential. Oh, sorry, almost forgot. Hal does tell us a pretty interesting secret. It turns out the reason they're able to get into the FDI so easily is because they've worked in the FDI before us. Not surprising to me, but worth knowing at least. My mind weighs heavily over the last case, but I gotta keep it together. Agent Walker calls us and says he made it to the landing site. What he found were stones. Over 100. Sure enough, they started digging and found bodies buried under them. 2 were of note. One was heavily decomposed, while the other was a whole skeleton. Agent Walker sends us the files of the skeleton, containing an autopsy report and a photo of the person, presumed to be the one that belongs to our skeleton.
Well, it's taken a while. Hard to access the satellite out here in Roswell. Dryfield. Okay, looks like it went through. About goddamn time.
I looked at the photo and saw a familiar face. Scanning for facial recognition revealed it was the man, the myth, the legend, Henry Jenkins. I looked at the back of the picture next and found the name Gabby. Also, we now have the full title for Jenkins, which I will now refer to him simply as Dr. Henry Jenkins. Listening to the autopsy report revealed our Sans reference was a 9-year-old female. She had a notable curvature in her left metacarpal 3 bone in her hand, helping to identify her later, actually. I decided to look on the list taken off Dr. Jenkins, and sure enough, I got a hit. 2, in fact. As it turns out, there were 2 Gabbies on the list. Gabby Bruce and Gabby Mills. Looking on the Human DB, for Gabby Bruce, I found exactly what we were looking for. A 9-year-old girl with an abnormal metacarpal 3 growth. Agent Walker was surprised at my impressive skills and asked how my little magic tricks work.
How did you find this, Tanner?
I told him Dr. Jenkins's list had both Miss Bruce and Miss Moore's name on it. Agent Walker asked for proof, and I give him Miss Bruce's medical record. I think also, going off script, Agent Walker says it best here. 9 years old, Tanner. God help us.
God help every single one of us.
Soon after, the second body was finished and was now processed for review. We had an ID on him, thankfully. A Mr. Quentin Spence, mid-50s, still missing and on Dr. Jenkins's list. But this mystery just keeps getting better. Dr. Spence was actually buried with his lab coat.
With some, you're never gonna guess. Floppy disk sewn into one of the pockets. Remember what I said about this case getting weirder and weirder?
Let's review. The first floppy disk has a few documents. Study contains what look to be Dr. Spence's first day notes. They're full of hope and glee, humanizing him. It seemed like Dr. Spence was genuinely excited to begin his studies on something called FMP 1138, likely some sort of non-FDA tested drug or procedure. The other floppy disk is password protected though, and it's our job now to crack it open. I looked at the picture of the first floppy and it was titled R&D1, Dr. Spence. Nothing exciting. The picture of the second floppy was titled R&D2, Dr. Spence, but had something else. The files named FMP 1138 and Res2 were hinted at as the key to the lock, the password to the second floppy. I looked into the autopsy report to be thorough and found nothing new. The badge didn't have anything either other than the place Dr. Spence worked at, BM Technologies. As I later figured out, this likely meant Bio-M Technologies. Small theory rant, I think the full name of the facility is either Biomental Technologies or Biomind Technologies. I don't know if they were really doing anything akin to like Metal Gear Rising or Hitman or anything, but it's just bizarre to say the least. I'll let people who do game theories proper handle that. The script's already long enough, and we're only halfway through. I went through Res 1 and got some medical mumbo-jumbo. The rest are mostly the same. From what I can gather, Dr. Jenkins, Dr. Spence, and a Dr. A. Isles were working on some drug called FMP 1138, which was developed to, quote, enhance AMPA receptor-mediated synaptic transmissions and improve synaptic plasticity, end quote, in an effort to combat neurological disorders and diseases like Alzheimer's. Basically, they're developing a drug to help synapses transmit signals better in order to fight neurological diseases. And with 2 of the doctors now confirmed dead, I'm guessing it didn't go well. Although now that I think about it, the Res 2 document did state they were studying if FMP 1138 could enhance synaptic transmission and promote new synapse formation. Synapses are used to communicate between neurons and are basically the keystone to memories and how we remember things. I'm getting sidetracked. Moving on. The document FMP 1138 contains the key symbol I was looking for, and said, quote, to unlock the full potential, 66.72 kHz minimum, 105 kHz maximum. Res 2 had the same thing with the lock. Isles use Endian, likely in reference to the note in the document where Dr. Spence used the Little Endian standard to show the graphs. This puzzle took me a while. I was well and truly bested by it. I requested Skinner to aid me, and he wasn't really helpful at all. I later tried again, but no dice. He just told me the same thing, basically. So, realizing I was stumped, Skinner was being completely useless, and having nowhere else to turn to, I caved and took to the internet, and found someone who was also stuck, just like me. But they did find the solution eventually. From what I saw, they didn't realize it, but I did. All it took was a sound cue. Give me 1 second. Wait a minute. Hold on. I didn't see much. I didn't see. Hold on. I didn't see anything along the lines of like what the actual solution is. But there was a sound. Hold on. That's what we're looking for. Bingo! Got it! Holy shit, that was insane. Okay, hold on, let me close that real quick. Holy fuck. That's the sound I heard. And that just made me go, wait a minute. I got the password from the floppy disk, and inside was Dr. Spence's confession.
If you are reading this, it means I am no longer living, and that I have been buried in the dry-field desert like the other subjects. I implore you, whoever you are, to share my story with anyone who can make things right. My name is Quentin Spence. I was head of operations at the BioM facility. I'm writing this letter because I am about to resign from a job that one cannot simply resign from. As per protocol, I will most likely be sent to the desert burial site with all my belongings. I deserve this punishment. I am sick. So sick of everything that we have done supposedly in the name of science. If you have found me, then I'm assuming you found the others too. Every person buried here in the sand is a Project Eve test subject. Eve was led by Dr. Henry Jenkins. I am not trying to shift the blame onto him. I bear my share of responsibility in this matter. While our intentions were noble, at least in the beginning, I now see that we went too far, and I am ready and willing to face whatever punishment awaits me in the next world. You have found this document, but perhaps the contents of my lab coat pocket remain undiscovered. Perhaps they could not crack the password necessary to open the floppy disk. Maybe they assumed the floppy disk contained only my research papers. Regardless, what truly matters now is you. You have the power to stop this. Please, do not be as cowardly as I was. Quentin.
I sent Agent Walker the good news and the address, and he was genuinely impressed.
I'll let it go to your operator head, but that was actually somewhat impressive, Tanner.
Tomorrow, we'll find out what's inside that BioM facility, thankfully not far from Agent Walker's position.
Screw the suit. God help us, Tanner. God help every single one of us.
Look, you need to do something about it. He's poking around, asking too many questions. He's going to expose us all if you don't rein him in. Yes, his shift is over, yes. All right, yeah, fine. We'll talk later. Bye.
Is you all happy right now? Yes, you are. Getting back to the machine, Director Trench gives us a call and tries to deter us from anything about the coal files. At this point, I brush it off, thinking nothing more of it. I'm not messing with the coal files anytime soon. We get a call from Agent Walker not long after, wondering if we told anyone about the location of the biome facility.
Tanner, did you give that address out to anybody?
Naturally, not a soul would know beyond me, Agent Walker, or any other agents on site assisting with the investigation. But someone did know, because the facility was burned to the ground last night. Agent Walker thinks maybe there could be a mole, but who? Some evidence was recovered, and so we dig in. There's only one piece of evidence we have. A lone security camera capturing the entrance of some room into the facility. Well, maybe lone camera isn't the right thing to say, as there's another in the top right of the screen, but it's the only camera we got. Looking at the footage, we see one person enter the facility with a jerry can and leave not long after alarms start blaring. Who is this mysterious person? Our ghost. I relayed to Agent Walker about the jerry can. Easy proof it was arson. Our perp is still unidentifiable. Agent Walker then decides to step into the site to find any possible evidence the investigation team may have missed. Unsurprisingly, the door's keypad is keeping the door locked tight.
That would have been too easy, huh?
Thankfully, this isn't Batman Arkham Knight, so I don't have to mirror and replicate the numbers our ghost put in. I just have them on screen. Sure enough, Agent Walker gets inside with little casualties.
Damn it! The smoke in here will ruin this suit too. That's 2 suits in 2 days. Tanner!
As Agent Walker puts it, the place is elaborate and tightly secured for a medical facility. So while Agent Walker is scrounging around for any forgotten evidence, he wants me to find something else about our ghost. A troubling task, to say the least, but I did think to fill Agent Walker in on Agent Pendle's case, as now they're hunting the same ghost. This is starting to turn into a weird, based on real events, federal drama version of Ghostbusters. Anyways, Agent Walker did find something.
Hold on. Looks like I found something. What the?
A warped metal tag with the name Connie Moore. At least now we can say Ms. Moore was abducted, just not by aliens. We contact Supervisor Skinner to update him on what's going on, but Hal decides to bump in. God damn it. Hal's heard everything and confirms there is a mole in the operator program. They just don't know who. But someone did know and is likely in contact with our ghost. And Hal has hatched a plan to both expose the mole and capture the ghost. Hal tells us there's some things behind black ink, locked up in the evidence room here at the FDI headquarters, like the important name on Dr. Jenkins' list. But they can't access it. The evidence room is a closed network. So, Phase 1 of this Hal special, as they call it, is to expose that evidence hidden away in the evidence room. That will scare the mole into sending in the ghost. Phase 2 is simple. Since the mole will send the ghost to wherever they're needed, we can set a trap for the ghost with Agent Pendle to nab him. But first, we need to get into the evidence room. Normally, I don't have the clearance level to access the evidence room, but Hal took care of that for me. Naturally, I'm a bit hesitant because if this goes wrong, I'll likely be put behind bars for the rest of my life. Or just disappear under mysterious circumstances. And even if my body is found, the FDI will just conclude it was likely a suicide. Remember, this is still 1992 and we're working for a federal agency. I'm not discounting anything. So, I log out, get up from my desk, and casually take the elevator to the evidence room, trying not to seem like a nervous wreck. Hal, if you find this video, and I know you will, you're buying me a drink after this. Maybe I should start a Patreon or something. With some quick thinking, I hit the H key, and lucky us, Hal's here! Surprised that our badge actually let us in. Oh, also, how the f can you talk to us from here? Well, as it turns out, the help menu was the only thing they could access. So we can talk to Hal, but we have to do the hard work ourselves. So, with a little bit of steam coming out of my ears, mostly because it's cold as fuck in here, we log in and get to work. Well, at least I would, but I can't access anything from what I can tell. Hal, I don't see the files anywhere. Now, with access to our case files, we look around for some hidden evidence. Sure enough, there was a hard drive hidden from our evidence folder, so we make that visible again and head back to Hal. Now, they want me to make the hidden name on Jenkins' list visible too. To whichever god is watching me right now, find forgiveness for my accursed soul. We revert the version of the list to when it was first registered, and confirm with Hal we're done here. Now to head back to our desk. Need to act natural. It's not like they did something turbo illegal or something, right? Huh. We get back to our desk with no one suspecting a thing. Now, with new evidence at our fingertips, we can access the hard drive recovered from the burned-down facility. Sadly, though, the drive is damaged, and it's going to take a while for it to load. In the meantime, Hal wants to see the redacted name on Dr. Jenkins' list. I myself am a bit curious too. Hesitantly, of course. So, let's open it up and see who was so important to be redacted. Sasha Cole, of all people. and because his name was circled, he's still alive. The hard drive recovered most of the files, so we get to digging. Nearly all the files are password protected, but we do have an email to go off of, sent by BioM Technologies' IT department to Dr. Jenkins. He used his badge ID for some of his passwords, a big security flaw, and one we can take advantage of. But where to get it? I started looking around for where to get his badge, but it seemed impossible. Then I looked at the photo buried with Miss Bruce. It has a clear picture of Dr. Jenkins, and lo and behold, there it was, clear as day. I put the password in for Miss Moore's file, and we find a couple of documents. One details Miss Moore's trials timeline, nothing too special within it, but a note does state to send the overview report to an off-site laboratory with a full address. Well, that's where we'll set the trap. I relay this to Hal, and we then contact Skinner to get Agent Pendle. Using the same line the mole is tapped into, they'll likely hear us telling Agent Pendle to go to the address we send her. That'll spook them into sending in the ghost to deal with the problem, and we'll capture the ghost. I get in contact with Agent Pendle and give her the address. Trap is set. Now we just need to go in for the bag. Okay, things are about to get crazy, so bear with me here. So, Agent Pendle calls us up and says that she finally made it to the lab. It looks to be hastily abandoned with nothing noteworthy about it.
Shit! Drop the phone. Slide your gun over to me. Slowly. On your knees, Agent Pendle.
You? How do you know my name?
You might want to close your eyes.
You don't want to do this. I'm a federal agent.
Agent Walker, FDI! Drop the gun! Drop the gun! Move away from her! Now!
It's locked.
What did you do? Hands up! Turn around. Turn around! Hands on your head! Pendle, you okay?
Walker, we have a problem here.
What'd you do? Open the door now!
It's not opening, Walker.
Open the door now!
Operator, you there? There's a bomb. This bald-headed psycho has trapped me in a room with a bomb. It's my third day.
I'm not sure how, but Agent Walker found out about the location. He's bought us some time and apprehended the ghost, so I'm grateful. But we still have a major problem. I call Skinner to let him know the situation, staying as calm as I can. If this is what a 911 operator is like, I'm not sure if I can handle this level of stress, but I keep cool and explain the situation.
Okay, let me think. Unfortunately, our more seasoned operators are presently occupied. I'd send a team, but they'd arrive much too late. That means you'll have to defuse the bomb, operator. I'm sharing the FDI's bomb defusal manual. You haven't gone through bomb training yet, but we have no choice. What I'm about to tell you is important. Do not read the entire manual. You don't have time. Stay calm and follow the instructions from the beginning. Do you understand?
Okay. I asked Agent Pendle what bomb we're looking at. At a glance, it looks like a bomb. There's multiple modules to it. Of note are a battery, keypad, display, the explosives, naturally, and a bunch of wires connecting it all together. Sadly, it's not enough for me though, so I get Agent Pendle to give me further details. First, the wires connecting everything.
There are a lot, but I'll try. The power module. It's a battery. Has 2 wires, a red and a black. 2 wires are connected to the explosive, a red and a black one. The display and the numpad have 4 wires each, a red, a black, a green, and a yellow. That's it.
Okay, so there's no green wire connecting to the power module, so it's not a multi-mass device. Okay, next the battery. What's the voltage?
I don't really know. A single battery pack? I think. Wait, it says 9 volts, 0.3 amps, 2,000 milliamps hour.
Great, so it's not a single mass either. Okay. What's the explosive?
I'd say gasoline. Tanner, this isn't how I imagined I'd go out.
Perfect. Okay, so it's an anonymous ticking device. We have a guide for that. Hold on, Pendle. I'm getting you out of the situation. Okay, so there's gotta be a serial number on it. Okay. What happens when you put in the code 0000?
It says ABM 186511.
The ABM is all I needed. So, we have the instructions we need. First, we need to kill all ticking modules. There's no receptor, so we can just look into the keypad. Just cut the yellow wire.
Are you sure, Operator?
Do it, Agent. Nothing bad should happen. It's just a data wire.
I hope you're right. Okay, I'm cutting the wire. Oh, it's done. But the bomb's still ticking.
Okay, good. That's done now. Next is the display. This is gonna get complicated. First, power off the screen.
How do I do that? Wait. I see it! A little switch next to the screen. Okay, it's switched off.
Perfect. Now, cut the yellow wire.
I hope you're right. Alright, it's cut.
Okay, next, cut the red wire. God damn it.
He said it! He said it!
Here goes, Operator. It's done.
Good. Now to make sure there's no power left in the display, power it on.
I'm pressing the switch. The screen is still off, but I guess that's normal.
That's to be expected. There's no more power flowing into it. Now, power it off again.
Okay, it's switched off.
Great. Now, cut the green wire.
Please, please, please! I'm still alive. For now, anyway.
Good to hear. Now cut the keypad's green wire.
Alright, I'm cutting it. Done.
We're almost done, Agent. Just cut the black wire connecting the battery.
Here we go. I'm alive. Does that mean it worked?
It worked. The bomb's dead. Thank the heavens.
Oh God, thank you. I just need a few minutes. Maybe a vacation too.
Never a dull moment in the FDI, huh?
Once you're done conversing with Agent Pendle, go home. Get some rest. I'll see you tomorrow.
We're back in the office and get logged in. Just another day at the FDI. Agent Pendle calls us up to thank us once again and give us some new evidence. First was a note to Eve, presumably Jenkins' wife. The other was a picture of some vials labeled FMP 1138, Mark 6, Project Eve, Connie Moore. I'll let you figure out what these are meant to be used for. Nothing major, but it's enough. Hal chimes in and says the plan mostly worked. No one was really expecting there to be a bomb waiting for Agent Pendle. But Hal has something for us to look into. After the fire case was reopened by Agent Andrews, in case you forgot, she's Hal's contact agent in the FDI, she found something she missed last time. A bug planted in Mia's apartment. And Hal found it led to a live feed planted somewhere else, both of which connected to the same destination. Most likely, the mole. But we need to identify who is being watched first. We get patched into the feed and get to searching for clues. Looking around, there's some beer bottles on the coffee table close to a TV. The wall is damaged due to vibrations and humidity, so it's likely close to a tram. The TV is of an old design, but this is 1992. There's a bucket filled with water, suggesting a water leak in the roof. A cute cat is sleeping on the small cloth napkin. Oh my god. This is a live feed spying on me. That's my apartment. I search up my name on the HumanDB and give it to Agent Andrews. She doesn't believe me at first, but she realizes I'm serious. I ask Hal what the hell is going on. They're just as confused as I am. In a final desperate attempt to get me to trust them, Hal reveals there's a hidden file on my terminal, in a place no one would think to look. They give me a password to unlock it. And soon, I find it. In the trash bin of all places.
If you're reading this file, it's because I have trusted you enough to reveal my true identity. My name is Alice Truin, but you know me better as Hal. I was an operator in the Operator program under Supervisor Xavier Skinner. In fact, I was the operator that you replaced. I had been an operator for only a few months when I started noticing strange occurrences. When I began to look into these matters, I was quickly met with resistance. It soon became apparent that the only way to truly investigate these matters, without putting my life in danger, was to quit. Or rather, to not allow suspicion get fired from my job as an operator, which I did by pretending to be incompetent. On the outside, I adopted the alias Hal, and, using the skills I learned even before my days at the FDI, picked up my investigation from where I left off. I'm a hacker. A damn good one, too. But as good as I am, the FDI has proven he'll lure the adversary with one of the most advanced security systems in the world. To access their system, I needed someone on the inside. And that person is you. Maybe it's funny, but I discovered that the trash is the only part of the computer that's not reset between one operator leaving the program and another joining. So, I left this file there for you. And I've used your computer as a backdoor into the FDI terminal system. Thank you. And, well, there you are. Now you know who I am. You can still leak my identity and get a nice fat reward and spend the rest of your days drinking margaritas on a beach somewhere if you want. But now that you know what you know, I'm hoping that you'll continue to fight alongside me so that we can one day expose them. Whoever they are and however powerful they may be. So, what do you say, Alice?
I asked Hal who them is, and she says they call themselves the Organization. How convenient. Once again, I have no choice. I have to put my trust in Hal. But this time, I'm I'm a bit more willing. Her words seem genuine, so I actually believe her. After reading her note, she found out where the bug leads to. I wasn't sure if I wanted to know, but Hal confirmed my suspicions. It leads straight to the FDI HQ, likely a superior. But who? And to find out that mystery, Hal is getting Agent Andrews to sneak into the building we are located in. We quickly get into a call with Agent Walker, and he's not happy. He's been interrogating the ghost for a while, but he won't talk. Unless he talks to me. Now granted, I wouldn't normally negotiate with criminals like him, but this is the only way to get him to talk, so I agree. The first thing our ghost does is give us a deal. I answer his questions, and he'll answer mine. Fine, I say. Let's play this little game. First, he asked me a simple question. Why did he want to talk to me specifically? I tell him, I don't know. He allows it, and now I get to ask him something. There are a lot of different questions I could ask. So I choose to ask him a similar question in return. Why does he want to talk to me specifically? He says, I'm wrapped up in this big conspiracy far more than I know. He wants to know how far my knowledge reaches. He's testing me. He asks me who Mike Trench is. I give him the simple answer. A kind of test, you could say. Trench is the director of the FDI's Operator program, the program I'm part of. He presses me for a more personal connection. I say he's just a friend of mine. I don't want to spook him or anyone in the FDI, so I ask him a question knowing what the answer is. Why kill Ray Wells? With a quick reminder, he says he just needed a quick hitman, someone who could take the fall while he goes completely unnoticed. When he killed Wells in the parking garage, he made sure there was nothing on the camera linking back to him. He asked me what I know about Sasha Cole. I tell him he's just a name on the list, still missing to this day as far as I know. I had to press further. Why did he kill Henry Jenkins in the first place? He says he just had to clean up a quote-unquote project. He asks how we got the footage from the camera in the parking garage. I decided to test him and told him our software and agents were able to recover the footage. It wasn't empty like he had hoped. He allowed it, so I asked him, who is he working for? He says he doesn't know much and can't say anything. But he does confirm he works for the organization. He then asked me if I know Hal's name. My heart sank. He's known everything this entire time. He knows that I've been in contact with Hal, that I planted Agent Pendle in the offsite lab, even that Hal helped me get the footage back. I know he knows. He's seen everything I've done, heard everything I said. I had no choice. I do know who Hal is.
What? We'll talk about this later.
He asks me what's Hal's name. I tell him I get to ask a question now. He backs off. I ask him what is his name, his full name. He says he doesn't have one. Not anymore. He asks again, what is Hal's name? I take a deep breath and say, I think we're done here. Agent Walker, take him away.
I'll take things from here. Come on, let's go, Mr. No Name. Back to your palatial cell. Tanner, you and I'll talk later.
Can't lie, I felt pretty good saying that line, actually. The game doesn't give it to you, but I honestly did say it, and I gotta admit, I felt pretty fucking badass with that. Hal lets us know Agent Andrews is in the building. The goal is to get her into the server room on the 11th floor, but she'll need a key from the technician's locker room. Once she's in the server room, we can find our mole. Hal gives us a live feed for floor 11 to help assist her, and thanks us. Cheers, Hal. Agent Andrews arrives on the 11th floor, and we spot her just outside the elevators. Sadly, the code Agent Andrews has doesn't work, so Hal sends her down to the 8th floor. My floor, funny enough. I just need to guide her to the emergency stairwell. She jokingly asks if she should bring me a coffee while she's so close to the operator floor.
Can I bring you a coffee or anything? Sorry, I tend to make bad jokes when I'm nervous.
Sadly, I don't drink coffee, Cat, but maybe after this is all said and done, we can grab a bite to eat, huh? Agent Andrews makes it to the 8th floor, and Hal gives me the floor plan. I guide Agent Andrews to the stairwell, and she climbs back up to the 11th. The doors are locked, though, and Agent Andrews predicts she won't get very far with just knocking on them. So I tell Hal the situation, and Hal just plainly says, just use her badge. Simple. After a quick scare in the hallway,
Game on.
We're back in business. Finally, Agent Andrews makes it to the technician's locker room, but it's locked by a code too.
You gotta be kidding me.
Man, this place is locked tighter than a nun's sin cave in a strip club. I go to Hal, and she tells me to type in some command in my terminal so we can reverse engineer the code that way. I'd be lying if I said this was a little confusing, and explaining what I was doing to Agent Andrews resulted in her probably rolling her eyes at me in frustration.
Try some codes? Seriously? That's our plan, Tanner?
So let's give it a whirl. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see that. Okay. So it's a 5-digit code. Oh god. Jesus Christ. What exactly am I going to do with this shit? We'll give it a shot. Just see if we can find something here. There we go. Hold on, we're getting something. Let's see here. 17. Maybe 15. Bingo. Okay, we're at least closer now. Okay, so it's some combination of this? I guess? I don't know. Okay, so guess what? 11357 is what we're looking at. So let's see here. That's the combination of numbers we're looking at. Let me get that. So let's see here. 17153. Okay, let's try. No. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we got the right combination. Now we have something proper. So, let me try. So that 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's see here. 7, 5, 1, 3, 1. Nope. 7, 3, 5, 1, 1. Oh, we're close. Holy shit, that is close. But what exactly is missing from that? Maybe it's because it's so close. But that is close. So 7, 3, 5, 1 something. 7, 3, 5, 1, 2.
That worked. Okay, I'm going in.
Well, I got it eventually. Got quite lucky to say the least. Well, Agent Andrews is in and is now trying to find the key to the server room. But just to be sure, I checked where the server room is to make sure there's no one around. And yep, there's someone right there. Shit. I can't have someone finding out about Agent Andrews, so I go to Hal for assistance. She asks for an ID on the person, and I give it to her. Then Hal says to play along. Hal gets me in a call with the receptionist. This isn't going to end well.
Rebecca Davis.
Well, I tell her I'm from IT and that we spotted a problem with her terminal. She asks me why an operator's in IT. I tell her I was just covering for a friend of mine. She can relate, thankfully, but says she deals with IT issues with a specific someone. So I say their car was impounded. Clear to suspicion, thankfully. As it turns out, it was actually kind of a fire hazard parking so close to the fire exit, or something similar. I'm not sure which. She wanted to know what the issue with her computer specifically was, though, so I told her there was some unusual activity, and that it could be a very major security risk, so we had to nip it in the bud very quickly. As for Miss Davis, I told her go have a quick break, and that I'd take care of everything. She wanted to keep working on a finance report. Boring stuff, probably, but the numbers might be important, so I can relate. She asks how long it'll take to fix things up, and I tell her it's probably going to take a while, maybe an hour or so, as I'd have to pour through the code and make sure there was no trace of any malware or backdoors in her system. If her terminal allowed even one backdoor, who knows how many terminals could be at risk too. She caves and says she'll go and let the IT guy get to work. Now, with that headache out of the way, Agent Andrews is nearly done picking the lock on the locker. I let her know the coast is clear and make her way to the server room. Hal, Andrews, when we get this done, you both owe me a night out in town. Agent Andrews gets the key and gets inside the server room. She plugs in the device, and finally, we're going to see who our mole is. Suddenly, the alarms blare loudly. An intruder's been spotted. The whole building is on lockdown. Agent Andrews freaks out, wondering if her cover's been blown. Hal says she's completely in the clear, or she'd be cuffed already. I keep Agent Andrews put in the server room. Hal remains unresponsive, but finally reveals something shocking. Our mole is Mike Trench, the director of the Operator program. Trench is working with the organization. Hal gets into Trench's computer and finds something beyond unreal. An email sent by Dr. Jenkins to Trench reading, quote, "Project Operator enters Phase 3, and Sasha Cole is ready." I open the Sasha Cole file with the password provided and find most of the data still corrupt. But there is an audio file that recovers. I open it up and...
Is it running? Okay. This is Dr. Jenkins here with control session number 24 for the patient Sasha Cole. The patient is under trichlorohydrin and has received 10 cc's of FMP 1138 Mark V 2 hours before the following session. All right, let's begin. You will answer my questions as usual. 1 for yes, 2 for no. Do you understand? Do you believe in extraterrestrial life? Are you currently restrained? Are you married? Do you work in law enforcement? Do you know who I am? Do you know who you are? Are you Evan Tanner? Good. He's ready.
options fly by my screen, and I have no idea what to pick, no idea what to do. I have no idea what the hell's even going on, what even is happening, but no time for that. Hal shows us Trench is dead. The ghost has escaped. And Hal sends one final haunting message.
Do you know who you are? Are you Evan Tanner?
Oh man, this video took a while to make, but I'd be lying if I said it wasn't fun. This video took a good while to make, having to write a script and then edit everything together, make sure everything's all good, and I even used some specialized voices to get some different voices and everything. I think it's safe to say I went a little higher effort than I thought I would for this video, but man, it was just genuinely fun. It was great. Anyways, I'm gonna end this video here, so thank you all so very much for watching this video. I cannot thank you enough for any of this sort of stuff. I love making videos like this. I love writing scripts like this. It is always really fun to do this stuff, no matter what. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like on the video. I don't expect it, but it is nice to have to show that you really enjoyed it. If you have anything to say either to me, you want to ask me a question, you want to say something, or just talk with some other very civilized people on the internet, leave it in the comments below. Share this with your friends and family, anyone you think might actually enjoy this, honestly, feature-length film at this point. Actually, hold on. A question for anyone out there that's played the Operator. What was your favorite part? I think for me personally, the bomb was really fun. When I went to re-record footage for it, I had a moment of just when Agent Pendle said, you know, like, I'm alive, I'm like, oh, thank God. My head just fell into my lap. I'm like, oh God, thank fuck. I thought I might have fucked something up. Check out some of the other videos I've made. I have the entire H3VR firearms tier list I'm working on. I have an entire series for that. I've got Into the Race Scavenger I probably should work on as well. I've been thinking about it for a while, and I'm thinking, you know what, at this point, I've been batting around this idea for a while, thinking, you know, I should make another Rumble video, I should do something. I've just been worried about it not doing as well as I'm hoping for, and just, in general, just thinking it's probably not going to do super great and everything, because that video is carrying this channel, literally, on its goddamn back. It is that good. It did so well. It's at 6,500 views. I've gotten over half the subscriber count I have right now from specifically that video. That video is doing so goddamn well. It is genuinely far beyond what I ever expected it to do. It is literally carrying this channel, and I can't say I'm not proud of it. If this is like your 5th or 6th video or something, and you seem to like what I do, at this point, consider subscribing to the channel, and if you do, ring the bell for when I finally upload another video. I wasn't expecting to work on a video for like a month and a half, mostly because of creativity loss and not really knowing what exactly I'm going to do next, but I got something, and I think this was a really fun project to work on. Last thing for you, word of advice. Don't be afraid to defend yourself. You are responsible for your own safety and the safety of others around you. Every weapon is a tool, physical or not, and it's important to know how to use them. So don't be afraid to defend yourself and train how to do so in any context. No matter where you are, what you're doing, or what you're going through, I hope to see you again soon. Stay safe out there.